What's up, guys? Welcome back to Reject Filmz, back with another review for you guys for a couple more Wild Eye releasing films. Happy Monday, as it is as I'm recording this anyway. I'm not sure if I'm going to upload it today, but yeah, just a tiring, dreary, rainy, cold fucking Monday. You know, I was thinking maybe I shouldn't cuss so much in my videos, but you know, ones like this, you guys are watching reviews to movies like this. If you're gonna sit through these, you can sit through me cussing. So fuck it. I don't know. But anyway, just like I said, one of those days, long, exhausting, whatever. Anyway, enough blabbling, like who cares, right? But jump right into it here, I guess. Hope everybody's doing well, though, aside from just tired. This first one here, I was pretty excited for this one, as I mentioned in the unboxing video for these, and enjoyed this first one quite a bit. That is Dead House, or as the opening titles say, The Dead House, and I think it was also known as Beautiful People is the original title in the US, and it's the title in Italy. So yeah, Dead House. Check out the back there. Some guys break into a house and there's zombies. That's it. So yeah, you start out with there's three guys in this group. In the opening scene, I will say, there was opening scene, nudity, breast, whatever, pretty much right at the beginning. And then you have like this nice romantic sex scene, so you think, and then come to find out these guys are forcing these people to do this, and in front of their daughter at that. Try not to give too much away. There will be spoilers in these reviews, as I can't seem to talk about a movie without giving something away, but I'll not give everything away. So you really find out how screwed up these people are right off the bat, especially the main bad guy. And I will say the acting in this was actually pretty good. The way it was shot was pretty decent. It didn't seem like your typical Wild Eye, low budget, you know. I mean, still low budget, but not as much as some of the others. So that really drew me into the film more. You know, having a, you know, being shot better and better acting. But anyway, so they're doing that, and things don't turn out so well for some people. Like I say, I'm not gonna give everything away, but it cut from there to the main part of the story. Is they break into the house of the scientist and his family, people that are doing well for themselves and everything like that. And these guys are really messed up, especially the main guy and his right-hand man. I think is forget his name, Tempesto or that. I don't remember the name. It's been a couple days already since I watched these, so that's why I wanted to go ahead and get this done today. But before I forgot everything that happened. But yeah, so they break into the house with the scientist, his family, everything like that, and there's a lot of sexual talk in this movie. I'll warn you of that. Is some really vulgar language and everything, and you do get to know the family a little bit beforehand, before this happens and everything. Some kind of stuff between the father and son and everything like that. But once they get into the house, you know, they're pretty aggressive with the wife and everything, and just kind of rough up the husband a little bit. And there's a point where they try to get the family to kind of tell some secrets, and I think the only one who ever told a secret was the wife, which was a pretty upsetting secret. But after that, about 45 minutes into the movie, you finally discover the secret of the husband down in the basement where he's doing these experiments, which right off the bat I found kind of odd that he'd be having these experiments in his house like that. Seems a little odd. I mean, I don't know. Could just be me, but you find out that he's, you know, experimenting on people with this drug or whatever, and they're pretty much turning into zombies, and the zombies start wreaking havoc on everybody pretty much. And then you still have back and forth between the guys, you know, the main bad guys and the family, and you have some kind of backstabbing betrayal going on within the group of bad guys, and then some more, you know, when you think one thing, it actually ends up being something else towards the end. But I will say I really dug the design of some of the zombies. I thought they did a really good job with the special effects on this film, for the most part anyways. And like I said, the acting was actually really good for the most part, especially the main bad guy. I thought he did a great job. And yeah, that's pretty much the, you know, the plot of this movie. Is it starts out as a home invasion film where they're pretty rough with the family and sexual towards the wife and everything like that, and the main bad guy's just real trying to get, like, he gets off on trying to get people to admit certain things or something. But and then, you know, the last, I would say half, but not quite half of the movie turns into a full-on zombie movie. So if you guys are fans of home invasion films and zombie films, I think you'll enjoy this one. I mean, I thought it was pretty decent. I think IMDb gave it a 4.1, and I'm close to that. I'd say, you know, solid 5 out of 10. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. You know, I don't feel like it was a complete waste of time or anything. So there was kind of like an Uber zombie, I guess you could say, towards the end of it, and he looked pretty cool and everything. So the very end of the film I didn't care for. The ending just kind of sucked before it goes into the credits, and it kind of shows what happens afterwards, which I like that part. It kind of did like, what was it, I think it was like the Dawn of the Dead remake or something, kind of in that vein. But there at the end credits kind of shows you what happens afterward, after the movie's over. But I say I'm trying to look at my notes, but I didn't really take a whole lot. I just kind of take some cliff notes, what have you, if anybody even knows what the hell those are anymore. But yeah, like I say, overall solid 5 out of 10. Definitely, you know, enjoyed it quite a bit overall. But I mean, it might be one I revisit at some point, who knows. But yeah, so that is Dead House from 2018. It's only 75 minutes. That's why I say it's not exactly half of you know, the film being that and half of it being that. There is some features on here. You got interviews with actor interviews, deleted scenes, location behind the scenes, and trailers. Warning: contains graphic violence, nudity, adult language, sexual situations. So yeah, like I say, pretty solid film overall. Definitely the best acted and shot one so far out of this batch of films. Moving on to one I was actually really excited for, and I was pretty let down by this film. You know, it even says on the back here, Walks the Waters of I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left, which I'm fans of both of those films, and especially the remakes. I probably like the remakes better. And I knew what I was getting into, being a revenge film and everything, and that is Animalistic. And Go ahead and show the inside, and these are both unrated versions of these films, by the way. This is from 2015, runs 78 minutes. I believe she was supposed to be like Australian or something. I don't know. I don't think the accent was very good. But, and you only have a trailers feature on here. So, yeah, you have a young woman. Emma is the main character of this movie. And she's in the oil business of some sorts. It doesn't really tap into that too much. Besides, she was supposed to be somewhere, and she doesn't end up being able to get there. She is trying to get there, and she thinks her ride is outside, or she's getting a ride from this woman. This woman takes her to this house where it's pretty much the main woman who's not in it a whole lot, and the main guy in here is Jim, and his kind of not so much there assistant, who's not all the way there in the head or something, but she takes her to this house, and you know, they tie her up and all this stuff, and right off the bat, and you have a pretty much opening scene nudity in here as well, with Emma there in the shower right off the bat. So both films, opening scene, breast, nudity, whatever. But anyway, that always draws you in right away, and you're like, oh, I have to watch now. But yeah, this one was kind of a waste of time. Something I would definitely not watch again. I will say that. Right away, you see that there's another woman who's been there for quite some time. She's about half dead, completely naked, cut up, all this stuff. And so right away, you kind of know what the Emma character's in for if she doesn't abide by their rules and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not quite sure if it ever really said if they were keeping these women for like sex trafficking or for their own pleasure or what. It never really told you exactly what was going on. But she ends up being raped pretty early on in the film by the Jim character, who he actually did a pretty decent job. Everybody else in the movie sucked, though. I didn't care for them at all. He was actually in Tomb Raider: Cradle of Life, so he did have some, you know, acting background in like a real movie, I'll say. Even though that really isn't much better than some of these straight-to-video movies, but so she's raped early on. At a certain point, the guy watching her, that's not really all the way there, goes outside. She tries to escape, gets to a certain point, and is caught, brought back to the house. There's some other things that go on here and there, some dialogue, things like that. But at another point later on in the film, she's raped yet again, which at that point I was just like, you know, come on. I mean, I knew what I was getting into, being compared to Last House on the Left, I Spit on Your Grave and everything, but you have to have a reason, you know, to seek your revenge and whatnot, but the second time wasn't necessary to me. And at that point, I was just kind of disgusted by the film. I just, and not too much bothers me in movies, you know. I like really fucked up movies. I like, you know, say Devil's Rejects, House of Thousand Corpses, you know, my favorite films of all time, definitely. But this just, the way it was shot and the way it was handled, executed and everything, just, it didn't do nothing for me. It didn't. It just made me kind of not even want to watch the movie anymore at this point. I will say this is, I mean, this is probably definitely the worst film I've watched out of this batch. I'm pretty easy on movies. I know what it takes and what goes into making a film and everything, and I know how much hard work it is. But this one just kind of, at that, like I said, at that point, I was just like, all right, can we just get on to where she takes her revenge, because I don't know how much more of this shit I can watch. But she escapes again. She's caught again. And on her way back to being caught this second time, there's kind of a mishap, and something happens to one of the captors there, the guy watching her. And so she goes back into the house on her own, pretty much, and that's when the tables finally start turning, and she seeks her revenge. And she starts really getting her revenge on the Jim character. She finally gets him tied up and tortures him, and she's kind of having a hard time doing the torturing. It's making her sick to her stomach to do some of the things that she's doing, but she feels like he deserves this. And he's not helping the situation any. She's torturing the shit out of this guy, and he's still, I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna fuck you, and I'm gonna fuck all these women and all this. And needless to say, she puts an end to that, but without going into any detail. But it's just, I don't know. This movie, I mean, the end was okay, the very end. It kind of didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, it wouldn't be practical what she does at the end, the amount of, without giving anything away, the amount of stuff she uses to get rid of certain things, like she would be harmed too, being as close as she was to it. If you guys have seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the base of this movie. I mean, woman is kidnapped, bound, tortured. I mean, this is definitely a torture porn film. So if you guys are fans of torture porn, you might like this one more than me. I mean, I've seen like the Hostel movies and everything like that, and I think they're pretty decent. But this one just, I don't know. I don't know if it was the way it was shot or just the setting, the mood. I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. It just kind of turned me the wrong way. It just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, to say the least. And this has only got a 3.4 IMDb rating. And this is also known as We Are Monsters, was the original title in the U.S. I did take some notes, for you guys. But yeah, I can't really recommend this one, guys. Like I said, unless you're die-hard fans of torture porn. Some of the effects were decent, and they seem to be practical effects for the most part, which I always appreciate, practical effects. But I don't know. I mean, I didn't really give a shit about the Emma character. I didn't even really. I mean, most of the time, you really get to know the woman and everything like that, and then you just feel so bad for her when something happens. And of course, I don't wish anything like this upon anybody, what happens to her. But at the same time, you're sorry, all this moisture in the air is just. At the same time, you're just like, I really don't give a shit at this point. Just do what you need to do and get it over with. Like I say, I'm pretty easy on movies, but this one just, I don't know. And I don't like talking bad about films. I always try to find the positive in them. And the positive in this one, of course, is, like I said, the Jim character. He was actually a pretty decent actor, besides not being able to just shut the fuck up and maybe you'll live or something, or keep some of your parts. I don't know. He kind of, I think, to a certain point, he wanted this to happen to himself, though, because there is a certain point in the movie. He does have a family as well. He does have like a wife and kids, or kid, or whatever, and all this at the same time. And his wife thinks he's got like this normal job and shit. And he's hiding this from her, of course. And there is a certain point in the movie where he actually contemplates on taking his own life. So I don't know if he was wanting all this to happen to himself, like he knew he deserved this. I'm not exactly sure, and I really don't give a shit at this point. it's not something I'm gonna rewatch. Like I said, I had a hard enough time getting through it the first time. Granted, I was pretty tired, but I don't know. So yeah, like I said, if you guys are fans of torture porn and you want something you haven't seen before, then check it out. But I wouldn't recommend picking this one up. I mean, if you see it for like $5 at Family Video or something, like I said, they get a lot of these Wild Eye movies in. In fact, I just saw Bone Hill Road up there for $5 and everything, which, you know, Bone Hill Road and Carousel, Dead House, definitely better films than this. So hopefully the rest of them kind of redeem it. So, I mean, the synopsis sounded pretty good, and you know, I was just not impressed by it. So yeah, Animalistic, 2015, 78 minutes, USA and Sweden. So yeah, if it sounds like your cup of tea, like it's up your alley, then more power to you. But for me, this is not one no, can't recommend. I give it, probably like them, I give it 2.5, 3 out of 10. You know, it is what it is. It can't all be winners. So, all right. Well, if you guys have stuck around this long, I appreciate it. I know this review is kind of not that great of these films. Like I said, I was just trying to get them done and everything while they were still somewhat fresh in my mind, and it's just been one of them days. So, like I said, I did enjoy Dead House for the most part. I mean, there is some cruel sexual dialogue and everything like that, but overall, you know, I enjoyed it. I mean, there were some things that happened to the woman in here as well, but it wasn't just like, it wasn't the same as Animalistic. It didn't have that same feel to it, you know, especially towards the end of Dead House. There's a scene that is disturbing, but at the same time, it's just shot differently than it was in Animalistic. So I'm glad I kind of watched these two together, because they're both kind of, I'm not gonna say revenge films, but where something bad happens to the woman and everything. So they did have that in common. But yeah, so if you guys have seen either one of these films, Animalistic, Dead House, let me know. Let me know what you guys think of them. I mean, they're Animalistic's a pretty older release, so some of you might have seen that by now. Cruel, some say very nasty and nauseating horror. I mean, I didn't get nauseous, but like I said, nothing bothers me in movies, but that one just, I don't know. There's been very few things I can think of that really got to me or sickened me or disturbed me in a horror film. I mean, there's some that give me chills and, you know, goosebumps or whatever, and that's what they're supposed to do. Either that or you just have fun with it, or, you know. But that one, I didn't have any fun watching that movie. I just wanted it to be over after that second time of her being taken advantage of. You know, so thanks for watching, guys. Hope these reviews help you guys figure out what and what not to watch. I'm not just here to recommend everything that comes my way for a review because it's free. I'm here to be honest with you guys and tell you guys what I really think. So I hope you can appreciate that. And peace, love, and happiness to all y'all. Till the next time. Bye.